Hello everyone and welcome back to yet another match of the TOUHOU Project Mania Cup 4th iteration. We've got yet another match coming up for you in this round of 16 bracket, and it is one of the final matches we've got for this round of 16 weekend. We've got none other than Fish⁴, or Fish Cubed, I believe, Seed 32, going up against the likes of fumos in the losers bracket, Seed 17 versus Seed 32, as we can see. So got the likes of Achino, Yukatuk, Zekken, and Ku on the side of Fish Cubed, and also on the side of fumos, it's a full Italian team. So got the likes of Shadow GM, Iwater, Dark Cheeser, and Lunix. So yeah, both of them gonna be facing each other to see who's going to be making it into the quarterfinals bracket and who is going to be knocked out of the tournament, or who, for that matter, is going to suffer such the unfortunate fate. But before we get into that, of course, I'm your host, Epic Man 2, and joining alongside me is going to be none other than Sunapple in the commentary booth.
Hello. I am Sunapple. It is early morning for me. It is 10 a.m. So I am still excited to be here, though, honestly. I'm really excited to see this match. We are seeing the seedings for these two teams. And honestly, from the seedings alone, fuma definitely has the advantage. Though, I think Fish to the fourth. I don't think it's cubed. I don't remember what it's called when it's the fourth. Whatever it is. I think Fish to the fourth has a bit of an advantage in terms of LN, so they're definitely going to be focusing on this LN ability, especially something like LN2 or LN1, probably going to be protecting something in that ball range.
Yeah, absolutely. And additionally, when it comes to maps and stuff, I know because I paused maps like a year ago. Usually, when you put like a number like smaller, like next to a name, that is usually to the power of said number. So Fish would be to the power of 4 or something like that. And I believe like alternatively, it's called cubed in math. I don't know. It's been a while.
Yeah, I just thought that cubed was for 3 because it's squared. Cubed. So there'd have to be a 4D object, 4D version of a square, or a cube, or fourth. But yeah, it's not a huge deal. Either way, I'm excited to see this match. It is going to be a probably intense one. Fish⁴, this is a lower bracket match. So Fish⁴ and fumos on a very important time. Whoever loses this is going to be out of the tournament.
Absolutely. Very well said there. And as we can see, it seems that Fish is going to be winning the roles right on, and they're going to be going immediately for protecting Rice 6. So that's going to be Rockenby, the harder Rice map of this map pool. So this one being a bit more of a wild card from the looks of it. Or actually, no, my bad. Fish⁴ protected LN3, and fumo is going to be protecting Rice 6, whereas they're going to be banning LN1 as a response.
Yeah, this is definitely something understandable. I would say this LN1 ban just kind of makes sense, not wanting to play this coordination map, something that is, I feel like, pretty, not, I guess, necessarily easy map to act, but probably an easier map to act, and especially with Fish⁴'s act ability on LNs. I think they're just trying to, like, limit that as much as possible here.
Absolutely. Like, when it comes to matches in general, you usually want to be able to, like, a lot of the time you want to be able to like try and use your strategies to its fullest. So that includes like trying to just snag some opportunities from the opponent to try and take like easy points away. And we can see with Rice 1 being the final ban, it seems like it's going to be none other than Fish going to be starting the match off with LN2, Princess Lily by Jinghong 1003.
Yeah, this is our density map, so it's definitely understandable. Maybe just not wanting to play their protect so early, so there is that. Keep in mind, LN4 is the harder of all the LNs. I believe it is called LNX or something. So it definitely is like a step up in terms of difficulty. So maybe just wanting to play something a bit easier, trying to focus their best on their act ability. They're something that they, as I've said, they're really, really good at, and something that I think fumos is going to have to be afraid of, definitely.
Absolutely, like Fish⁴ is no stranger when it comes to the likes of Ellen parenting. So, and that would very easily include Ellen density as well. So, fuma is gonna have to like just try and challenge that a bit, like just to be able to keep themselves in the equation. But overall, both of these teams here, more or less, are going to be wanting to look into trying to take the first point to be able to really try and get the ball rolling, as we can see. And we can see Yukita coming in for Fish⁴ and Achino coming in as well. Whereas Shadow GM, I believe, coming in for fumos and Lunix to try and Lunix coming in to finalize the lineup for both these teams.
Yeah, this is definitely understandable. I do know Shadow GM is a very, very good player, especially in terms of their rice ability. Though I do know they have the ability to play this kind of LNs, this kind of easier LNs to a very, very high level, especially in terms of accuracy, which is going to be the name of the game right now. These maps, I would say, not too difficult for any of these players. This map is only 180 BPM, so it's not too fast, nothing too, I guess, interesting, nothing too unorthodox in terms of its patterning. So it's just a straight battle of who can get the better accuracy.
Absolutely, and yeah, I'd say that like for this match alone, like knowing like each of these individual players, it's most likely like not gonna be just about the difficulty of the map that is really gonna take a toll on like anyone, but also additionally the difficulty here would probably be to be able to match with players that are just relatively equal to each other. Especially as we can see, Shadow GM is really well versed when it comes to LN, and so is basically anyone on the side of Fish⁴. So, but it seems like we're going to be seeing Dark Hachizer coming in for fumos instead.
Yeah, another really, really good rice player in the Mexican scene. I believe they're probably one of the best. I'm not too sure. I'm not up to date on the Mexican scene at this point. But yeah, it's looking like we're going to be getting into the map right now. So starting off, we are going to LN2. Good luck and have fun to both these teams.
As we wait for the client to As we wait for the map to really begin, we are introduced with like some of these relatively soft LNs so far. No one dropping so far. Darkachizer having like a bit of a rough start, as we can see, just dropping down to the 99.60% accuracy mark, like very, very early on. That is not something that they would necessarily want, but despite that, the scores just really flickering a bit. Yukita just also suffering a bit when it comes to like dropping accuracy a bit, and that's just gonna like allow the score to flicker for a bit, as we can see going into the first quarter.
Yeah, these kind of LN density patterns are very, very easy to be able to get random 200s on, and as a result, I mean, we're seeing both the Yukituki and Darkachizer having, I guess, lower accuracies, though Achino and Shadow GM pretty up there. Achino taking the slight lead in that, but fumos is able to have the advantage. It is a very small run right now, and I don't think it's growing at all. It is around the 2K range, so definitely a lot of space for air for fumos. They can't take a few 200s, but I think anything more than that can switch this lead over to Fish⁴.
Absolutely, and we can see with Yukita taking a lot of those drops as this only going to solidify the lead for fumos so far, and it is a relatively small lead as well, only clogging at about 2,000 points and slowly growing up to the 3,000 points mark as well. Achino still hanging on to the accuracy. Darkachizers having dropped their accuracy down a bit, but Shadow GM just going to carry Darkachizer off of their back, just almost nearly matching Achino on the other side. We're going through like a lot of these really, really like sort of dense like jump stream oriented like coordination patterns with density like thrown into you. It really takes a lot of precise control to be able to get through them, and we can see that it is really, really working out in the favor of fumos as Yukita just suffers victim. Everyone's still hanging on to the FCs. It's just a matter of like, if someone was to miss, then this lead can definitely like just falter onto the side of anyone, and that's the scenario that no one really wants here, as we can see.
Yeah, Darkachizer maybe struggled in this intro, but they're doing really, really well in this later half. Definitely a lot better than Yukita. at this 99.1, they can get down to this 98 range, which would be absolutely devastating, especially for a first pick, especially for a map that you, I guess, are very, very confident on. And we will be seeing fumos taking the first map by, honestly, significant lead of 10k.
A strong effort from fumos to really make the impression to get that first point. Shadow GM coming in with the 990k score, just only 1,000 behind Achino's score, which unfortunately could not carry Yukatuk's, which couldn't unfortunately carry Yukatuk's performance as it did with Darkichizer, but despite that, it's with fumos winning off of Fish's first pick, that's just only going to allow them to really be able to like try and decide the next map in this match, especially. So I think knowing fumos, they might probably go for something to like just test the waters a bit. So knowing that they've gone for LN2 right off the bat, then they might like choose something that is a bit different. So maybe there's basically the majority of the rice pool is definitely on the board, as we can see. There you've got the likes of maybe some of these jump stream maps, or maybe even the Korjak map, which is rice free. So, but anything could more or less just be picked. So I guess it's just a matter of like if we have to wait and see like what they're gonna be picking.
Yeah, honestly, I don't know what fumos could be picking here. They could go for a more simpler map like Rice 2 or Rice 3. I feel like I'm afraid if they pick Rice 3, then they may go into an Act War, which they won't be, I guess, too knowledgeable on. There's a chance the Fish⁴ are just absolutely insane at Korjak Act for whatever reason, and fumos isn't able to take it, so maybe picking something like Rice 2 just to scout out the waters, which is also a bit simpler. Though we will be seeing Rice 3, so going for this Korjak map, 140 BPM, so fumos definitely has a lot of idea of, I guess, Fish⁴'s ability in Korjak, since I believe the qualifiers Korjak was around this BPM.
Yeah, something like that. I mean, it's been a hot minute since I checked, but despite that, this is probably going to be a bit of a dangerous map for like both these teams. Like, understandably so, fumos probably has a bit of adrenaline now that they just basically won off of Fish's first point off of their first pick. But then, like, this map is arguably even more of a consistency test on the contrary. So, like, if LN density is, like, not enough, then this is something this is the sort of map where basically everyone might potentially just be equalized, like, no matter what. And that's gonna really build onto like a dangerous scenario for like everyone here. It's really just a matter of like being able to like just keep hanging on no matter what the odds are, and I guess we'll just have to see how this plays out for fumos, whether they'll be able to get the break point or if we're gonna see Fish tying it together.
Yeah, right now we're dead even, so there's not much to say. Though this map is 3 minutes long, it is quite a lengthy map, a lot of spaces to be able to take a few misses, and especially at the end, as you get more and more stamina drained, it can be a problem. I would say 140 BPM in Korjak is no joke. A lot of people can play at this point, though. Can they play it for 3 minutes and at such a high level in terms of a competitive tournament, honestly?
I mean, knowing the amount of insane players that are still like in this tournament right now, it is like very, very possible that like there's probably been some 998Ks on this map earlier on, but despite that, we could see fumos getting like a bit of an early advantage. You could start taking a bit of a minor drop that's just going to drop there actually down to the 99.70% sort of department. But from the looks of it, Lunix and Shadow GM basically have like nearly the same accuracy. Shadow just like sort of like roaming around the area a bit downwards and going up a bit, but it's so far so good. It's really like helping them in this state, whereas Achino not going to be like at the best state enough to really carry the likes of Yukatuk just going into the halfway point of this map already. There is still a good half of the map left to go, so any mistakes are going to be devastating for whoever suffers them.
Yeah, and we see our first break. Yuki took taking a very massive break and another one back to back. We are about halfway through the map, so that is very massive. 11k point lead, and this is only going to be growing. I'd expect it to go to around 15k, especially considering how fumos, both players are basically at the same score. They are holding hands at this number right now, and it is still higher than Achino. So even if we double the Achino score, fumos would still be winning, which is kind of insane. We get to this last quarter, and there's just not much that can be said. 15k lead is just kind of difficult to be able to switch over unless we see either 2 or even 3 misses from fumos, just because their accuracy is also just so high.
Absolutely, those devastating misses from YuEast, just as I accidentally cursed earlier, bro. That really took a toll on the side of Fish, as we've said, and that's only really propelled the likes of fumos to really be able to capitalize off of this point going into this round of 16 bracket, and also securing that second point most likely, unless something happens, but there really is not enough time for anything to change from the looks of it.
Yeah, Shadow GM did get a miss at the end, though it was very clean, so it doesn't actually matter, especially considering YuEast had those 4 misses. And at the end, honestly, we do see Achino taking the top spot, though it kind of was because of the 2 bads from Lunix.
That's kind of crazy to think about, though. Like, just the fact that Lunix is able to match the likes of Achino here, but it really is just a matter of like team consistency that really like propelled fumos forward. Because like, say if we got like 2 scores, like let's say if we had like a clone of Achino like on the side of Fish, then it probably would have spelt some danger for fumos, as it would have been like maybe a bit of a 5,000 point difference. But it really just boils down to team consistency alone. And as we can see, Fish⁴ going to be countering that pick via picking Ellen Free. So aiming to try and win their first point after fumos basically brought themselves 2 points into the lead of this match so far. They're really going to have to try and tie things back a bit if they want to be able to try and at least keep themselves in the equation, try and like pull the rope that fumos is tugging on, as we can see here.
Yeah, this is Fish⁴'s protect, so definitely a lot on the line for them. They don't want to take another breakpoint, especially on a map that is so comfortable for them. This is, by the way, a custom song, so be sure to listen to the song if you haven't already. It is honestly pretty good. It's a pretty good arrangement of the original piece.
Absolutely, and honestly, piano pieces in general are just like very fascinating to me. Just like the way that they can be just so experimental while literally only being one instrument on their own. I guess that just more or less applies to like pretty much most of classical music, but I guess that's just the beauty of them in general.
Yeah, I guess that is how it is sometimes. But we are just waiting on these players to ready up. We are seeing Darkchizer come back in. It seems like they are basically the Ellen player on the team, or maybe just like not wanting to play Corjax in general, which can be understandable. I will say a lot of people, I guess, don't feel very confident in Corjax just because it is such an act fest.
Yeah. Corjax in general are just a moral enemy for like many people, and that includes me.
Yeah. I definitely will agree. It is the same for me, mostly just because I don't really play it that much. I think if I played it more, it'd be a bit better. But going into the map, we will be seeing this. I would say to focus most on the 200 counts of both these teams. We saw it on the last Ellen map. YuEast struggled a bit more compared to anybody else in the lobby, taking, I guess, double the 200 counts of anybody else.
Yeah, absolutely. Consistency is really going to be a major factor for the players on here. As we can see, Shadow and YuEast basically just took some misses early on. I think that Actually, no, these weren't Klein misses, and you could take in like another drop in response to Shadow. That's only really going to bring the equation over to this. That's only going to really bring like favors onto the side of fumos, which is just basically going to give them about 10,000 points of a cushion, as we can see here, going through a lot of these really technical like bursty LN and versus, and also some of these shields as well, which can really throw a lot of people off. It's just a matter of like just trying. It's really just a matter of like just trying your best to not try and get any like faulty or like some really silly like misjudgments that you weren't really expecting, and some of these Ellen Graces as well, just throwing just somehow surprisingly not throwing anyone off. And I don't think it will be long until we see yet another drop coming through on this one.
Yeah, there's definitely a chance, especially on these reverse shields that are just all over the place, honestly. These mini jacks that are coming in, as we say that, we see Darkachizers taking a break, though I think fumos does have this advantage. It was about a 10 to 20k lead. I think it was like 10 to 15k for fumos before that break, and Yuki taking another one just brings it immediately back to this 10k. Fumos has this advantage of honestly just score if Shadow GM takes a break, but it really doesn't matter just because the raw accuracy on their team is just so high. The score lead is still in this 10k mark, and as we get to the end, it gets easier and easier. So I believe fumos will take another break point and a very pivotal protect from Fish⁴.
Absolutely, and with how this protect unfortunately did not go into Fish's favor, it's only going to be is only really going to be factorized into the performances of fumos alone. Just simply, just really showing what they're capable of, really putting their name out there with such strong impressions, and even with like those small drops on some of these LN parents as well from Shadow and Darkachizer. It's really not meant so much because they've really just tried. They've really just managed to keep themselves intact. But even then, Achino having the highest score in the lobby with a 992k on this map, and with that, they're going. It seems like Fumo is going to be countering with their protect as well. So that's going to be none other than Rice 6 coming out.
Yeah, I think this is a really good pick from fumos. This may be their last map if they are able to take the breakpoint on Fish⁴'s map after this, which I don't know what that'll be. And especially considering how difficult this map is, I think fumos has the advantage in terms of physicality. We have been seeing Yuki struggling a bit more, even on the maps, even on like the LN map, and especially on the Project map that we saw earlier. So something this difficult will definitely be a struggle for them, I would say. And I think fumos is very confident in these kinds of maps.
Absolutely. From what I'd assume, fumos having won like the first 3 maps that have been picked so far, I believe that they must be feeling some sort of adrenaline to really be able to just feel like they can just pick whatever that can be like in their advantage if they want to be able to try and secure like this lead that they have accumulated so far. So far, they're basically on the road to a sweep. Fish still yet to get a single point. Maybe Fish could just simply take fumos by surprise on this map, but the likelihood of that I am not entirely sure about. But honestly, I'm interested to see how things will unfold here.
Yeah, I'm very interested to see, honestly, as well, especially since this is a very pivotal map for Fish⁴. I think if they aren't able to take this, it's going to be a big struggle to be able to take anything else, honestly. Though, I am not sure whether Fish⁴ is going to be able to do it, just because their physicality is maybe not there. But we will just have to see what happens in the maps. This map is 3 minutes long, OD8, and is a 5-star, a significant jump in star rating. Even though star rating doesn't matter that much, it still can say a lot about the density of a map, and I think that's the biggest thing right now.
Absolutely. This map is like basically all the more rigid when it comes to the rice pool. It is like basically a blend of like some really technical like bursts here and there, like some really like sort of finicky flams here and there, infused with like some core jack clocking in at about 137 BPM. So like It's basically what you get when you mix the core jack map from earlier, but you add in like some of these like really sort of like abrasive tech patterns that can really throw people off. So that's something that the likes of Fish is going to have to look out for going through here, as we can see that long jack basically, and Achino taking that drop that's only going to give fumos the upper hand as they simply weave their way through these patterns. Shadow taking that miss, but that's not going to mean anything like way too much for the time being, unless Lunix does take a drop as well, but I don't think that is going to be happening for the time being.
Yeah, that first drop from Achino was slightly better than Shadow GM since nobody was at that 400 comma mark, but Achino takes another one and another one at this point, so it is going to be very, very devastating for them. 10k going up to 15k right now. Lunix doing really, really well right now, just at this 99.6 range. Definitely carrying their team slightly as a result, just because Shadow GM took that earlier miss, drops their score by quite a lot in terms of OC Mania terms, I would say. Though Yuki took struggling a lot on his accuracy, able to get the FC for now. Though at this 99.8 or 98 range, it is just not something that is going to be helping out too much, honestly.
Yeah, absolutely. Getting almost through the first half of this map with the damages that have happened on the side of Fish, it's gonna be a pretty steep hill to climb. But did Shadow just disconnect?
Did they? That'd be really, really bad. It's looking like that is the case, just because they are in lobby. Yuki took taking a break right now. Though any breaks that do happen, I don't think will be too big, honestly. If Shadow GM did disconnect, since it is basically impossible for Lunix to be able to win, especially considering that Achino is at this 600k and so is Yuki took, so it's just already greater than 1 million.
Yeah, that is the worst thing to really just encounter like out of the blue, and especially the fact that this was already past the 30-second mark of the map. There is no opportunity for the map to be aborted as it stands, and unfortunately this is probably going to be how the map's like fate ends up, unless someone on the side of Fish⁴ also disconnects. But even that is such a tall thing to ask for. I really doubt that Yukitek or Achino or anyone else of the like is really gonna like accidentally like maybe just, oh no, press the escape key on the keyboard.
Yeah, that is true. Though if it is a disconnect, there is a chance for us to get the score back. Maybe after the map we can see what Darkachizer's score was offline and take it into account. And right now, Lunix is able to actually get a higher score than Achino, so if Darkachizer is able to show their score, there is a chance, and most likely a high chance considering what their act was before, that they can take this point, because Yuki is just taking so many misses at this end.
Yeah, and with Lunix taking that pretty tremendous score, especially getting that 985k, the only thing is that like we don't know exactly what was Darkachizer's score. Was it? No, Shadow GM. Yeah.
Yeah. So we basically, I think Shadow GM needs around a 900k, like around like a 910k to be able to match the score. So definitely if they are able to get something greater than that, but it's looking like he crashed, so we don't even have a score. So Fish⁴ gets a pick, and that is definitely good. A start of a comeback. As I said, this is a very pivotal map for Fish⁴ to win.
This was definitely not scripted, by the way. It just randomly happened. Oh my god. But despite that, it seems like Fish⁴ gonna be picking Hybrid 1, so really just starting to dip their toes into the hybrid department. We're gonna be seeing Hybrid 1. So I believe this is the Rise Spies hybrid that we're gonna be seeing here for the time being. Yeah,
a decently short map, so very, very interesting to see. I think this is the first time I've seen the hybrids get picked, so very nice to see these hybrids get representation probably Fish⁴ just not wanting to play this LN4 just because its physicality is so high. We saw in that last Rice map that was the hardest Rice map in the pool. It was our Rice X. So you can see just how difficult these Rice maps can get in comparison, or how these X maps can get in comparison. So this LN_X is also no joke.
Absolutely, and with this map, like, sort of leaning into like having some Ellen difficulty as well, like, even if it is not like the primary like factor of it, it's sort of like if you were to say it's like one of Fish's options if they wanted to like just try and get like maybe something that can be half in their advantage, half in fuma's advantage, but even that is such a risk alone, knowing the performances that we have seen fumos do on some of these Ellen maps from earlier as well, that really just beats out the likes of Fish. So that is gonna be pretty dangerous to watch for the likes of Fish, honestly.
Yeah, definitely is very, very dangerous. Another pivotal point here, I would say everything in this match is now going to be basically life or death for Fish⁴. Luckily, they do have quite a few more picks. Fumos isn't out the woods yet. They still have to take 2 more points to be able to win. And we go into this map a decently difficult 7.6 OD, so definitely a lot of places to be able to take a bunch of 200s on, and something that YuKi is going to have to try their best to, I guess, minimize as much as possible. And at this intro, they are getting quite a few, and they have lowered their accuracy down by quite a bit as a result.
Yeah, a pretty rough start for the likes of YuKi going into this match as we can see fumos just accumulating the very early advantages. We can see going through like a lot of these really thirsty like Rice Tech dumps, and also some of these like pretty like really like coordination oriented like Rice parents. That was a pretty like tight inverse over there, and like and with that not phasing anyone in the lobby from the looks of it, it's only really going to seem pretty dangerous as YuKi takes yet another drop that's only going to basically objectify the lead on the side of fumos, going into this sort of court, into this jack oriented section as the rhythm switches up.
Yeah, I'm not sure if that one was client, but if it wasn't, then fumos has just such a big lead at this 10k mark. Their accuracies are very, very good, just barely below Chino. Though, honestly, even with that, they're just so close, it's not a huge deal. Darkitrizer is able to keep up and just be above and beyond YuKi. And it's looking like at this point, if it hasn't changed, it's probably a real miss as we get to the last quarter of the map. Fumos is going to need to take 1 or 2 misses if Fish⁴ want to take this point, but as we get further and further into this map, there isn't as much of a chance for that to happen. And in this right section, we do know fumos is at the advantage.
Yeah, especially getting into like this intense ending section, you get thrown into a lot of these inverse trills. And with that just simply tightening up at the end, this map is only going to work in favor of fumos once again, punching their ticket into a match point situation, leaving Fish at only 1 point to spare. Now with Fish basically wanting to try and force a tiebreak, they really don't have any other options left if they want to be able to keep themselves in this tournament as well. If they want to be able to try and force a tiebreaker, which is practically their only option, they're gonna have to like try and perform like a bit of a reverse sweep from here on. They're gonna have to win on 2 picks from fumos as they're going to be picking now. And from the looks of it, I have a feeling that they've got like a lot of Rice maps left on the board, left to exhaust, knowing they have half the pool like available. So they're most likely going to be picking at least one of these Rice maps along the way, at least knowing them.
Yeah, honestly, I wouldn't be too surprised to see something like New World just going for something that is very dense, but also very, very simple. We did see them pick Rice 3 before, and that was another simple map. So I think going for something that is comfortable for Fumo, something that is, I guess, they're probably more consistent on as Rice 2, compared to something like Rice 3 or Rice 4 or Rice 5, would probably be their best bet, something that they can kind of guarantee a win on. We have been seeing they choose Rice 1, but that is banned. But we haven't seen
Uh-oh.
Fish⁴ struggling a lot on these kinds of density maps. We did see it on the Rice X.
Yeah, and knowing that, yeah, with that accidental, and it seems like they're going to be going Rice to either ways. That's going to be new world, like exploring this match as they make it in. So New World by Karaz on basically a relatively dense jump stream, hand stream stamina map, clocking in about 220 ppm. So this is, if not like one of the biggest like accuracy checks in this map pool alone, just knowing how dense it gets, like compared to most other conventional jump stream maps that I've seen in most tournaments. And like just the fact that there is so many anchors in it, it really just demands for like every single player here to be able to try and like just make sure that they're in top form right before going into this. As we can see, I believe Shadow GM going to be switching out on the side of Fuma. Is going to be swapping with Walter, making their first appearance in this match from the looks of it.
Yeah, Iwate is another very good Rice player, and definitely a very good accuracy player, and I think that is something that is very pivotal in this map. It is 3 minutes and 39 seconds, so it is pretty stamina draining. There is a lot of very dense hand stream and just jump stream in general in this map. We are waiting to get this map started, and the good luck have funds have come out, but Fish⁴ back against a wall. They need to take this point and the next few right now. So this has to be the start of something big for them. They need to step it up. They need to like lock in. All right.
Fish⁴ really going to be needing an opportunity to really capitalize off of something. This is their life or death situation here in this tournament already very early on as well. This is only like within like the first half of the whole tournament of that. But even now we see YuEast having a bit of a rough start, going through like a lot of these jump stream patterns, and that's only going to really bring favors over to the side of fumos, who have basically already got the upper hand by about 3,000 points going forward. The likes of Walter holding the highest accuracy so far, hanging on to the 99.90% accuracy range so far. Darkachizer's not far behind either, beating out the accuracy of both Achino and YuEast for the time being.
Yeah, we really are seeing the switch out to Iwate doing really well. They do get, I believe, either a 50 or something really bad, just because their accuracy has dropped so much. But still, it is basically the top scorer in the lobby. Darkachizer is top, but it's only by so much. They are still beating Achino, but YuEast struggling a lot more on these kinds of density maps. They are more dense patterns. They do have the FC still, which is very good. So if fumos takes a break or two, they can take the lead as a result, but that just means that YuEast has to basically FC the entire map, and if Achino misses, that kind of loses them that slight advantage.
A devastating miss from Achino, and YuEast also drops as well. Both of the combos on the side of Fish basically gone as we go into this calm section. This is one of the worst places for both these players to miss, and that additional miss from Achino not going to help anything on the side of Fish, unfortunately for them, as Walter and Darkachizer hang on to such an incredible combo going through this map, especially. And with the fire basically already like just still being ignited, it's only getting warmer the more misses come from, and even with that miss from what? Oh, wait, what the heck?
Yeah, Darkachizer and Iwate both take breaks, though YuEast and Achino took so many earlier. It's not going to be too big. They are going to be needing to see so many more at this 25k lead. Keep in mind, a miss is about 5k if they are at around the 400 combo mark. So I think they need like 5 or 6 more at this point to be able to take the lead. And at a quarter of the map left, there is only about like half a minute to be able to get this, and that is not that much. There's only one more section of density in this map, so they really are going to be seeing to see so much happen. I believe Fish⁴ at this point probably really low in stamina, so we are seeing them getting quite a bit lower accuracy, and Achino taking a break as a result.
Yeah, I feel like all the players in the lobby so far must be suffering from some sort of like fatigue, but even then, that's still allowing a Walter and Darkchizer to really, like, just maintain their driver's spot in this match alone, in this pick. Even with those pretty unexpected drops from earlier, that's only going, though all of the fatal misses from Fish has only really done nothing but allowed them to succeed in their favor, even with a 40,000 point lead, a devastating ending for the side of Fish, and a very unfortunate outcome for them in this match as Fumo just wins 5-1.
Yeah, congrats to Fuma. Sadly, we are going to be seeing Fish⁴ leave the tournament for now.
An incredible effort from the likes of Achino and Yukuta going through this match. Achino having gotten various match MVPs in this lobby during like a bunch of these maps, especially being out the likes of Darkchizer and Shadow GM from earlier. But at the end of the day, that is unfortunately not going to be enough, even with such an incredible effort, unfortunately for them. Oh.
Yeah, definitely something that is sad to see, but has to be done.
But yeah, despite that, with this match over with, it seems like we're going to be seeing... But yeah, despite that, we're going to be seeing Fumo's advance into the quarterfinals weekend. And I believe that they're going to be facing... Oh, wait, no, they're going to be facing Bucket Godscream. Oh, God. That's going to be a bit of a dangerous matchup. But despite that, we've got a bunch of more matches left on the board for the time being, as we can see.